What is up, LeetCoders? Today we're going to talk about question number 1 on LeetCode twosome. Given an array of integers num and their integer target, return indices of the two numbers such that they add up to target. So, it sounds kind of hard here, right? But at the end of the day, if we have like array of nums and the target is 9, basically we just want to find two values that add up to 9. So it's going to be 2 and 7. Even in our explanation, it explains well because it literally says because num 0, num 1 equals 9. So there are two ways of solving this question. And the first way is called brute force, which we are going to talk about in the first part in this video. So a lot of you guys watching this video will either be clicking this video because you either really don't know this or this just popped on your feed. But we're going to explain what brute force is anyway. Brute force is basically, as in its name, forcing your way through the problem. Basically, you're checking everything, right? You're not doing it smart. You're checking everything. This is not always bad, but a lot of times, people don't recommend this way because it takes a lot of time. Yeah, but like here, it doesn't really matter, right? So how are we going to brute force this question? So we're gonna use a for loop. A for loop that goes from the first index to the last index, basically. We're going to use another for loop that basically does the same thing. Let's just say this is like int I, int j. Sorry for the horrible handwriting, guys. And we're going to go to our last element. So this is the basic idea. We're going to use these two for loops, and we're going to stop if we find our target. In other words, when these two add up into being our target, right? So you may assume that each input would have exactly one solution, and you may not use the same element twice, is what the question is also saying here. So you don't need to worry about not finding your target. There will always be the two answers which will end up adding up to your target. So basically, all you need to do is, as I said before, use two for loops to iterate through the whole array. And when I and j are different, does not equal, oh wait, just let me write it again, okay? When I does not equal j, we have one more condition, right? Obviously, when they add up together to become our target. And this is going to be our whole equation here. Okay, let's now get straight into the code. And we are back to our twosome question on LeetCode. So this is going to be the coding part for question 1, the twosome problem with the brute force method. Okay, so we have in here the same. It's going to be called x1, right? x1, 2, 7, 11, 15. And the target, when we call our twosome method, it's going to be, in this case, target is going to equal to none, right? So we're going to go through our array first. Int I equals 0, I equals nums dot length, I plus plus. This makes our first loop go through each value in x1, which is going to be okay, let's just say this is ARR, array, for short. And it's going to go through 2, 7, 11, 15, okay? And it's, as we are going on, we don't want to just go through just this one time. As we are hitting this, we want to go through the rest of these three values, which we are going to do another for loop in this case. And we can't, so we already put I here, so we got to put something different. Int j goes 0, and j goes through nums dot length, j plus plus. So what both of these two loops are actually doing is we're going through the whole array. I is going to go from 2, and j is going to go from 2, 7, 11, 15. Then I is going to increment to 7, and j is still going to go from the start to 7, 11, 15. So it's just saying, the two for loops are basically saying, as I keeps on incrementing, j is going to react to that by looping through the whole amount every single time. It's not, j doesn't depend on I, so I is always going to be one value at a time. For example, 2, 7, 11, 15, and j is also going to be one value at a time, but it's going to loop. So if you want to visualize this, it's gonna look something like this. So when I is here, let's just say I is here, and I'm gonna put this as I. J can be 2, and then it moves to 7, then it moves to 11, then it moves to 15. So it's going to keep on moving. And after it moves on to 15, we're going to break out of the loop because j is now equals to nums.length. After that, obviously I is going to move to 7 and onward. And that's how a two for loop array. No, it's not a 2 for loop. So 2 for loops move, and I mean, a lot of you guys would already know this, but if you don't, please, and if I had explained it, kind of like fuzzy in a way that doesn't make you understand, so please leave a comment and I'll explain it gladly. And so nums I plus nums j equals what? Obviously, it's going to equal our target, but we don't want to stop here because I and j, we want I and j to be different values. So in here, we have nothing that really restricts I and j from being different values because, as I told you before, I is just going for the whole array and j is going to go in the whole array. So I and j are still going to go through the whole array both times, right? So we just want to clarify some things here, and when I and j do not equal. This is an and these are our conditions, okay? So it's not that hard. So let's just say, and after we find I and j, we want it in a new return new int I j. There. It's still, I'm currently writing in Java, and a lot of these languages actually have similar syntaxes, but right now why it's like complaining, and if you see closely, you can see like the red line here, right? It's complaining because you're not returning outside of the for loop. So it's basically saying, I mean, this program doesn't know we have an answer, but we know, right? So we just put something outside of the two for loops, so they return, and it won't complain anymore. And if we run this code, say, we want int answer, it's going to be toSum, our toSum method, toSum, and we're gonna pass in. Basically, I'm writing this. I mean, you only need to know this, but basically, I'm writing this in our main, so basically, we can like test it out. Because even in LeetCode, I think LeetCode is a good way for you to mentally make it, but I think it's more clear when you explain this way. So we're obviously gonna put ARR and our target, which is that. And we still have a complaint. Cannot make a static reference to a non-static. Oh, so static. Yeah. So if we print out each element in our answer, we're gonna have basically 0 and 1. This is how x. We're gonna basically have 0 and 1. Yeah, and that's it for this brute force method. Basically, all you gotta do is use two for loops, as I said before. Use two for loops in a way that you loop through this whole array. The first for loop is going to go one element at a time. The second for loop is also going to go one element at a time. And don't worry, so it's going to work, right? It's going to be the two-sum method, and you are going to use a if statement, so nums I plus nums j equals target, but we also are going to restrict this by saying I doesn't equal j. Return ij, and yeah, this is the brute force method. Let's move on to the hash math